Hi,
All right, so
everyone. Raising their hand. Okay, so you don't have to raise your hand. I think you can see my screen. Okay, hi. So we're going to learn how to hack leadership, which is the foundation for teamwork and project management. Now, there's a lot of things we can learn about project management. In fact, there are entire 4 or 5 month courses on project management alone. So of course, we can't do it all in one webinar. However, a key component to project management is having a team. And if you have a team, it means you have a leader. And most likely, because you're a country coordinator, you are that leader. So just want to make sure that that's clear. You might also hear some background noise because I'm based in London, England, and so there will be a lot of noise here on the street. I do also want to say that we will answer questions at the end again. These are, of course, tips from IYAFP. These adhere to IY's values, and these are my experiences as a leader. So keep that in mind as you go through this presentation with us. Now, before we even start, I want you to have the correct mindset for this presentation. There's two types of mindset according to psychologists. There's something called growth mindset and fixed mindset. Growth mindset is the idea that intelligence can be developed rather than set in stone. So when you look at students and children who have better educational outcomes, it is most likely because they were told that they can grow their mindset, they can continue to learn. If you tell people that they are born smart or that they are born intelligent, it's game over for them for their career, because they're going to think, oh, I'm born smart. So when they do something and they're not successful at it, they're just going to stop, or they're going to think poorly of themselves. So don't think like that. I want you to have, on the left-hand side, you're going to see growth mindset. Keep in mind, you're always growing. Of course, you being at this webinar means you're acknowledging that, yes, you're a leader, but there's things to learn. I know that I have things to learn, and so I want you to have this growth mindset as we enter this presentation. Now, before you wonder, why is Jillian giving this presentation? Is she even a leader? Yes, I am. Even though I'm a youth, I am a leader. I acknowledge that I'm not Obama, but I just want to show you that I do have experience in leadership. I've been exposed to various leadership styles for 16 years. I've had 3 leadership and training courses. I've been valedictorian twice, which means that I've developed strong relationships with my peers to be elected in that position. I've led over 15 teams with dozens of different projects. I've been a project manager and educator for 10 years. And of course, my latest challenge is being a leader online, which, as you know, through IY. So the first thing we're going to talk about is getting personal. In order for you to lead your team, you need to have good trust with your team. And in order for your team to trust you, they need to know you, and vice versa. So get personal. When you get into a room, get everybody's name. That's the first thing about being personal. It doesn't mean you tell somebody about your health issues and all of your deepest, darkest secrets. No, getting to know their name, their favorite sport, finding something in common, because that's going to build trust, and that's going to help break the ice, which is that image that we've got down there. You need to be kind and you need to be genuine. People know when you're being fake, so don't do it to just be fake. It's also very important to have a sense of humor. Laugh, because that helps break the ice and that makes you seem more approachable. And of course, you want to make yourself available. So as soon as you get personal with one of your team members, they will feel more comfortable to talk to you. And this is good for everything. If there's a problem in the project, then they feel comfortable talking to you about it. Or if they need your support or help, they feel comfortable coming up to you. The last thing you need is a team that is too scared to talk to you, because then your projects are going to fail. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is having emotional intelligence. What does this mean? Well, emotional intelligence can be an entire, if I give it to you in a minute, there's 5 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness, being aware of your own values, of your own emotions, the way you react. Self-regulation, being able to regulate how you react, how it is that you compose yourself. Motivation, doing things at 110%. Whenever you're leading anything, there's a cycle. Things are really positive, sometimes things are negative, but you need that motivation to keep going and to keep doing things at 110%. You don't want to stop doing things at good quality just because you don't have motivation. Empathy. Empathy is so important. When studies look at some of the most successful CEOs and most successful teams, What the CEOs have in common is empathy. Empathy is, as this picture shows, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, being able to understand where they're coming from. If somebody has an issue, sorry, I couldn't do my work today, I have to take care of my child. I understand, that's okay. When you have empathy, people will build that trust with you, and they're actually going to be more loyal. And of course, social skills. This means being able to communicate very well. Learn to communicate, because that will help with your social skills, which will help with the overall dynamic of a team. And obviously, these are very important for project management. And this is not just in the scope of IY. This is not just in the scope of a project team. This can be applied to families. This can be applied to schoolmates. This can be applied everywhere. Number 3 is listen and engage. You have a team for a reason. You're not dictating to your team, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. No, then why do you have a team? That's not the purpose. The team is there to contribute ideas, so you need to listen and engage. Now, there's a skill here that you need to also develop. When you're in a meeting, you'll often have people, sometimes you'll have people who all just want to say things. So you'll have 10 people say the same thing. Oh, we need to improve the clinic app. Oh yeah, the clinic app is really hard to use. Yeah, I don't like the app that the clinic uses. Okay, we get it. A skill you need as a leader is being able to identify the common theme so that you don't waste time in a meeting. Identify the common theme and say, okay, so I hear as though there's an issue with the application that the clinic uses. Now let's talk about solutions. What are some solutions people think? What's the first thing we need to solve? You're directing the conversation by acknowledging what people are saying, and that's very important. And that's a skill. It takes time to develop, but be very conscious of what you're doing in a meeting. And on the other hand, if you're attending a meeting, be conscious of the leader of the meeting. Are they doing a good job? Are they not? Why? And learn from them as well. Number 4 is problem solve and pitch in. So related to what I just said, you're having a conversation. Now, what are some problems? How can we solve these problems? Don't dictate. Don't say, okay, great, thank you so much for all those solutions. So here's how we're going to go it. Ankita, you're going to actually move forward with this. Zifa, you're going to do this. Anissa, you're going to do this. Okay, and Sadia, I think I want you to do this. And you do nothing. That is not the way a leader should be moving forward. Why? Because then you're just dictating. You're just using your team as employees, but you're not. You guys should be on the same level, which is another slide. So a way I suggest you approach this is, okay, so I'm going to take on ABC. Sadia, what do you want to take on? Okay, great, thank you. Victor, what do you want to take on? Great, can you take on this too? I think this aligns with your strengths. Great, thank you. But that way they know that you're also pitching in. So everybody's rolling up their sleeves and getting some work done. The next, and this relates to the next point, take initiative. So people are sitting around, they're not doing very much. Take initiative, be that leader. You're a role model. As a leader, you're not just a leader, again, in your own constraints. You are a role model for society. Take initiative. Or take initiative in different ways. So not just physically doing work, but say, for example, WhatsApp isn't working. People are very confused. There's 300 messages at a time. It's not working as a project management tool. Take initiative. Talk to other organizations or people. What platforms do you guys use for project management? Look at other platforms. Try other platforms. There are tons of platforms. You can use Podio for your organization, or Slack, or Basecamp, or Asana, or Avaza. There's tons of things out there online that are free. You have to take the initiative, and you have to be the one to lead your team to do that, because no one else will. The next thing is recognize individuals and contributions. You're going to lose your team so quickly, and I mean so quickly, if you don't recognize people and their contributions. And how can you do this as a leader? By putting yourself in someone else's shoes. That's the empathy card. So say, and I want you to imagine a time when you, either if it was for an organization or for your house, we'll do house because everyone has a household. Say, for example, you spent all Saturday morning mopping the floor in your house, and no one even says thank you or recognizes that you did that. Does that feel good? Would you want to mop the house again? Probably not. But if someone walks in and is like, wow, thank you so much, Michael, for mopping this. Oh, I was going to do it, but I didn't have time. Thank you. Will you feel better? Yeah, you will. Will you do it again? Probably. Recognize individuals. And this goes back to that number one point, get personal and get people's names. Be personal, get people's names and say, hey, thank you so much for doing that. And then they'll do it again. But it's really important because it helps keep team morale up, and it will just make sure that your deliverables are delivered at a high standard. The next, nope, just joking. The next one is level out. Now, what does this mean? This means a lot of things. I want you to imagine a hierarchy where you have a leader and then you have the team. Usually the leader is at the top. Now, this is important for documents, this is important for decision making, but when it comes to working as a team, you need to level up. So get down to people's level. You are not better than anybody. You are not more special than anybody. Every single person on your team is an equally important individual. And so don't act like you are more important than others, and don't act like, oh, I can't do that kind of work. So say, for example, you're hosting a panel. Don't say, oh, I can't give people water. That shouldn't be my job. That's not my work. No, if everyone else is busy and you don't have anything to do, you go pour people water. It could be, that's your job. Nothing is below you. And so having that attitude is very important, because then your team will respect you a lot more, and they will look at you as a leader, because again, you're taking initiative and you're being that role model. And here I have a picture of a dog and a cat cuddling, because there's no hierarchy. Usually the dog chases the cat, but not here. So I want you to imagine that. The next thing I want you to look at is being a feminist. So if you look at the top grossing companies in the world that have consistent growth, so I'm not talking about the Amazon or the Apples, but I'm talking about good, strong companies that have very consistent growth, that have really great growth in shares, they're mostly led by women. So when I say be a feminist, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, anyone can be a feminist. Feminism is just regarding men and women as equal. This means you want to look at your team. Do you have a good gender balance? If it's all men, you have a problem. If it's all women, get some men in there. Another thing here I want you to keep note of, sometimes, and we do this naturally, and I'm talking now especially to the women, if you're running an event, I'm going to give you an example. You're running an event and you have snacks on the side, just, you're feeding some of the participants. There's water, there's food. When it comes time to clean up, the event is over, meeting is done. Who's the first person to clean these things up? Who are the people who get up and start putting things away? It's not the men, it's the women. So men, I look at you and I ask you to not assume different types of roles because of gender. So if you are planning a workshop and there's food that's going to be at the workshop, instead of saying, oh, okay, my female colleague here, can you please be in charge of the food and putting it away? Try to challenge yourself and be like, my male colleague, can you please put the food away? We're going to put you down for that. Really just try to split up the roles. It's really important, because then you'll have the women doing other things, and it's important to change that up and not adhere to gender roles, which we do it accidentally. So just, again, be very aware of it. Number 9 is be transparent. So if you're a leader and you are making mistakes, or if payments are going through and it's not very clear, or people have questions and you're not answering them, then you're going to lose your team really quickly. You need to be transparent, because transparency helps foster trust, which goes to number 1, which helps build a really strong team. So be transparent and be honest about it. And this also includes about yourself. Be transparent about your own efforts and hold yourself accountable for certain things. So very important point here. This is number 9, and I'm actually ending. So the last point here is, of course, be organized. You can be the greatest individual and leader and friend and build all these strong relationships with your team, but if you're not organized, so if you don't know where to find a list of emails of all the members, or if you don't know who's doing what on a certain day, if you don't have a calendar or an agenda or even an approach to your project, it's going to fail. You can be the greatest individual ever, really lovely human, but if you don't know where things are or how to organize a group of people, it's game over. So that ends the presentation. I promised you guys 15 minutes. I did that in 15 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm actually going to stop recording now, and I'm going to open it up for questions. So give me a second to stop recording.